When I think of the word heroine, I think of people who are selfless.
The heroes in all this, the heroines in all this, are the people who survive day to day, the ones who can get by with almost nothing, and that when we come down and we help them, they say thank you.
I went to an alumni conference of the Partners program that I'd been involved in, both government and industry IT leaders. One of the things that we talked about was, doing community service. And, one of the ideas, of course, I volunteered, hey, I'll, lead a group to Nicaragua to build houses. I had been to third world countries, but more as a tourist, so you really don't see, you see it, but you see it on the periphery, how 80% of the world lives. But to actually live in a community, to eat beans and rice every day, to work side by side with these people that are struggling to improve their lives.
Two really big passions in my life, besides my grandchildren, of course. One is improving healthcare delivery in the United States, and the other is education. I am honored to be a trustee at Inova Hospital and for the Inova Hospital system. I happen to believe that as a community hospital, it is just a spectacular enterprise. My parents were educators, and I've always grown up in an environment that said, if a society is to be successful, if individuals are to be successful, they must have the very best education we can possibly afford.
Most of the organizations that I tend to gravitate towards are any organization that involves children, education, those who are less fortunate, those who may be challenged with health issues. It's always been, since as long as I can remember, something that I felt compelled to do. My Sister's Place, which provides a safe and confidential shelter for battered women and their children. It's an incredible organization, and I was introduced to it about 5 years ago. I make people aware of the different organizations that are important to me, why they're important to me, and ask for their support.
As a business owner in our community, I feel very strongly that we need to give back to our community. So we do that by partnering with Adventist Healthcare. They had a project where they needed to disseminate information to about the Teenage Runaway Program. And we did this by producing vidcasts. These vidcasts reach out to the parents, to the children, as well as to the law enforcement, how they're going to actually work together in coming up with solutions on helping the situation within our community.
I'm a consulting engineer, and at my level I'm a director of a business area, specifically intelligence area, in support of national security for the country. My heart goes out to those who have less than us and can't get through a day in their lives. And I found the most important ones actually right here in our own state of Virginia. And they're 8 hours away. They're people who basically can't make ends meet, and their houses are in disrepair, their daily lives. And so there's a group called the Dungannon Development Commission down in Dungannon, Virginia, that basically permits them to put in proposals for work they need. And so I work very closely with teens, where my heart really goes to. It's the young ones that we have to grow up to show that they can really do things through their normal days, things they do in their everyday life.
ADS has been very involved in various community service type projects. One we're particularly proud of is being one of the founding sponsors of Hoop Dreams, which is a scholarship fund that sends students to college. Countless in terms of, they offer employees the opportunity to go out and do volunteer days to give back to the community, to help rejuvenate neighborhoods. We respond to natural disasters, of course, Hurricane Katrina, 9/11. The opportunities are endless.
We provide signal processing and communication software and hardware to the government. And by having this experience in computer programming, I've used this experience to help with my services to the community in the areas of prematurity. I've been able to develop databases to help with our local prematurity support group, Preemies Today, to help them manage the membership easier than how we've been able to do it in the past. I've created web-based a web-based access for our annual golf tournament that we use to raise money for the March of Dimes and other areas like that. So mostly in the area of programming. Preemies Today is a local prematurity support group here in the metropolitan Washington area, and we provide support to parents of preemies and anyone who's been touched by prematurity.
I have a philosophy. I've always subscribed to this, and it's nice now because as a business owner, I really have much more, I feel like I have much more ability or control to really execute this vision. I think all of us, business owners or not, all of us as members of our community have both an obligation and a privilege to give back and support the community in which we live and work. And I feel also that no action is too small, that every action has an impact.
One of the things that always concerned me and that I always wondered about is what happens to these foster kids. You know, you turn 18 and just think about it, you're just left out on the street because you're no longer in the foster care system. I happened to be looking in the Wrestling Connection one day and I saw this little tiny ad and it said the Orphan Foundation of America. And it said, we're looking for volunteers for this e-mentor program to help former foster children stay in college. You get the mentor-mentee relationship and you sign up and they train you, and then you had to commit to a year of emailing with one of these students at least once a week for a year, because they found that people being interested in the student helped keep the student in school.
About 80% of our company comes from the higher education field. We've taken those higher ed values and inculcated them into our corporate culture. And so we have something called the Data Tell Scholars Foundation, of which most of our employees are contributors through a payroll deduction program. And we give about $500,000 every year away in scholarships to students. So we're constantly reminding our employees that their role is to give back. I thought, how long has it been since I had this attraction to community service? And I was 8 years old, and Jerry Lewis was the very first person who kind of called me to action with the Muscular Dystrophy Association. And so began just a long history of saying, you know, you can make a difference. A single person can make a difference.
In the fire department, where I do a lot of my volunteering, we're a combined unit. We have fire and EMS on one side, but we also have to run the business of the department. And so with that, I've been able to bring my leadership skills to bear, being able to set up divisions and organizations and processes to make sure that the department is doing the fundraising, the membership, managing the facilities, being able to pay for and acquire new equipment. And so I've been able to bring those same skills that I use in business into the volunteer setting to help continue the volunteer system. My heroines are Clara Barton. Clara Barton was very active on the war field, giving care to wounded soldiers. She was in her 80s really when she started the Red Cross. And so that just sort of showed me that she had a passion for her work, she made it tangible, she started the Red Cross, and she did it at a time of her life where most people are winding down. She's keying up.
What we have is a company right now of about 150 people. What they've done for me is use their spare time in the technology field to provide us one of our latest ventures into philanthropy, which is the Sempercom Foundation, in which we provide our technology to the troops overseas. What we've done is we've provided it to people, troops who are less than 75, people who are out there in very, very small segments and who don't have communication back into their families, their loved ones. What we provide is like a dinner table environment in which they are allowed to invite members of their family.
Girls in Technology, I got involved through that, actually through my involvement with Women in Technology. First joined Women in Technology to participate in the Mentor Protege program that Women in Technology has, and met a very dynamic mentor through that program, Marla Ozarowski, who at the time was the chair of Girls in Technology. It's a very dynamic organization. It's completely volunteer. but very dynamic women in all fields of technology, not just information technology, but who are really interested in getting that next generation of girls into the pipeline of technology where there's such a critical shortage.